G'day and welcome to another episode of Kiwi Car Life. And if you're looking for a modern performance Subaru Legacy, chances are you're going to be looking at either a 2-litre turbo Legacy or a 3-litre R Legacy. And as part of this comparison, we also happen to have a pre-facelift Wagon over here and a facelift Sedan. So today I present to you 2-litre pre-facelift Wagon versus 3-litre R facelift Sedan. In terms of exterior styling, there's a couple of things that you can immediately spot between them. The first one is because this one is turbo, it naturally has a hood scoop for the intercooler, and the pre-facelift ones just have a slightly different looking front end with different bumpers, different lights, different grille. They also have slightly different wheels on them as well, and around back the tail light design and exhaust tip designs are slightly different as well, but in general they both look fairly similar. The 2-litre turbo Legacy naturally has a 2-litre turbo. In typical Subaru fashion, it is a flat 4. It revs to over 7,500 RPM, makes 206 kilowatt and 343 newton meters, which is some very healthy numbers, and it's sent through a 5-speed manual with power going to all 4 wheels through a symmetrical 4-wheel drive system. The 3-litre R, on the other hand, naturally has a 3-litre engine, but it's a flat 6 with no turbocharger. It makes 180 kilowatt, so 26 less than this, and 300 newton meters, so about sort of 43 less than this, and it's paired up with a 6-speed manual transmission with power again going to all 4 wheels. So it'll be very interesting when we get these out on the road to see how the smaller turbocharged flat 4 compares with the larger naturally aspirated flat 6. There's a few subtle differences that you spot between the facelift and the pre-facelift. The first one is the gauges. This one has a slightly higher red line, but the design is a little bit different, and with this one being an import, the speedo only goes to 180, whereas in my one it goes to 260 or so and only revs to 7,000 RPM, but both of them do a very cool gauge sweep when you first turn them on and are backlit LED gauges, which look really quite cool. The facelift ones also have a slightly different center console design here, and they also have dual zone climate control with the Macintosh stereo rather than just single zone climate control, and they have a nicer steering wheel with, on the automatics, bigger paddles. It's leather and it has buttons to adjust the radio and the cruise control and so on. But otherwise, the indicator stalks, the design of the little screen and pocket up here, the dashboard, the seats are very similar, although in this one they are cloth rather than leather. In the other one, the Wagon naturally has a bit more rear leg room and quite a bit more boot space as well, which is great if you're looking for something a little bit more practical. But in general, I would say if you can get a facelift, it is worth it. You get a few more features, and in my mind they look a little bit nicer as well, and the automatic facelifts have a much better transmission as well, but both of them are still lovely places to sit. 3, 2, 1, go. Driving the 2-litre turbo Legacy. Oh yep, it's a lot quicker than mine, that's for sure. But quite a bit quieter too. It doesn't really make too much noise. Oh man, it ain't slow, eh? This, oh, it's a really quick car, eh? Man, when the boost comes on. And the RPM, like, I mean, my 3-litre R goes pretty good, revs all the way to 7, but this goes to 7,500, which is so nice. The only thing with it is it's a little bit hard to control. That's what I've always found with turbo cars, is that, you know, you put your foot down the amount you think is the right amount, but the boost hasn't kicked in yet, and so then it's kind of like, whoa, there's extra, there's more there that you weren't expecting, you know? But gee, man, it is not a slow car, eh? You put your foot down, and it goes. And it's a real interesting sound too, where you can kind of tell it's a flat 4, but it just has that, I guess, slightly more exotic sound. I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe. It almost kind of sounds more like a European 4-cylinder. It doesn't have that typical sound of a flat 4 that you're used to hearing from the older ones, probably because this is, you know, one of the newer equal length header ones. Oh, it's quick, eh? And overall, you know, compared with the 3-litre R, it's actually amazing how different it drives. Just both in terms of the sound, the power delivery, the revs. Oh, you can just hammer through the gears, just like with my 3-litre R, but with that turbo boost. Oh, I really do love it, eh? The 3-litre R, how does it compare? Well, it's a lot slower. Straight away, I just put my foot down there and I was like, yep, no, this thing doesn't go anywhere near as well as the 2-litre. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because it has quite a different sound, and the other major thing that I really like about this is it's so much smoother to go through the gears. I found with that 2-litre it was very between gears, whereas this, straight down, super smooth, up, bang, you like barely even know. And the ratios are a bit shorter too, so you can kind of go between them a little more quickly, whereas in the 2-litre I was kind of only ever really using second and third, whereas with this you can use fourth and it's still as well in the power band at, you know, perfectly reasonable speeds. But there are areas where the 2-litre is definitely better. It's faster, it revs higher. I really like the sound on it, and I like the blow-off valve. And I think the transmission feels a bit better as well. Mine sort of feels a little bit loose and is a bit kind of sloppy to go between the gears. But both of them have the same steering feel problems in my mind. They're just not the most precise cars to send into corners. And then it just kind of comes down to, do you want a very smooth, very refined, really nice sounding 3-litre like this with 6 gears and slightly shorter ratios, or do you just want raw power with that typical Subaru kind of almost slightly exotic sounding flat 4? I guess that's something that you would just sort of have to drive both and decide for yourself. And above all else, you know, I never really sort of understood Subaru, I guess. But now that I own one, the more I've driven them, oh, they really are pretty darn fantastic cars, eh? Thanks very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.